Emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 8:43 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from all over the world, but I want to start with the Middle East first. So there's been an official statement put out by the United States and allied forces condemning the attacks in the Red Sea by the Houthis, and you can consider this statement basically a final warning to the Houthis. And if you remember, on New Year's Eve, I broke the story that the US and the UK were in the final stages of preparing for a massive strike on Yemen involving hundreds of missiles, and they said they were going to put out a warning. Well, it looks like this is that warning. You can see the date here, January 3rd, 2024, a joint statement from the governments of the United States, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, New Zealand, Singapore, and the UK. And we also have multiple countries putting out travel advisories now for Lebanon. We also have Iran promising to seek vengeance. So let me just start with this here. This is huge. The most concerning part of this statement here is the final paragraph, which says, "Let our message now be clear. We call for the immediate end of these illegal attacks and release of unlawfully detained vessels and crews. The Houthis will bear the responsibility of the consequences should they continue to threaten lives, the global economy, and free flow of commerce in the region's critical waterways. We remain committed to the international rules-based order and are determined to hold malign actors accountable for unlawful seizures and attacks." Okay, so let me read that to you again. The Houthis will bear the responsibility of the consequences should they continue. They are determined to hold malign actors accountable for unlawful seizures and attacks. So this is absolutely huge news, guys. This is basically a final warning. Major breaking news coming in from Iran. So apparently there were 2 explosions at a service celebrating the death of Qasem Soleimani. He was the Iranian general that was assassinated by Trump 3 years ago. So they were celebrating the 3-year anniversary of his assassination in Iran, and 2 explosions rocked the service, and apparently at least 103 people have been killed so far and 188 injured. And Iran has declared a national day of mourning, I believe, for today or tomorrow. So this is absolutely huge news, guys. We already knew that there would be a risk of attacks on U.S. forces and Israel and shipping lanes in the Middle East today because of this anniversary of Soleimani's assassination, plus Israel assassinating the second in command of Hamas the other day. Now the risk is just off the charts with these 2 explosions going off at this service. And as of the filming of this video, just before noon, January the 3rd, 103 people have been killed. Okay, so I have a really strange feeling that this is not organic, if you guys know what I mean, that this is a false flag by the Iranian government, and basically the Iranian government planted these explosives to cause more hatred of America and Israel in Iran to justify further attacks and operations on the West. Okay? So this is very, very concerning, guys. I want to read to you some more.
The war in the Middle East has been escalating every day. War is spreading on the four corners of this earth. But it's getting very deadly in the Middle East. There was an assassination of a top Iranian general. There was an Israeli airstrike. Goes back to those Khazars, them imposters. Read Revelations chapter 2, verse 9, Revelations chapter 3, verse 9. Those are the Khazars. That's Amalek, the grandson of Esau. Esau's the Greco-Roman American Empire, and Amalek, the imposter Zionist Jews, is the grandson. They're the imposters. Okay? They did an airstrike and they killed an Iranian general. Okay? China says Israel and the United States are the main instigators of war. And it's true. The whole world is angry at Israel, U.S., the Pentagon, and NATO, which is the European Union, the ancient Roman Empire. America is the prostitute who sits on the beast. And Israel is running the show, not the United States, Israel. Who controls Israel is the Rothschild family, which in German means the Red Shield, because they know they are the ancient Hebrew Edomites. Jacob and the 12 tribes are the Hebrew Israelites, the twin brothers. Esau is the wicked, the seed of Satan, and Jacob is the righteous seed. It goes back to Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? So they are the main instigators. Now, Israel, the Israeli Air Force, they cross all borders. They go into any country they please. The Rothschilds own the United States. The United States military is the Rothschilds pit bull. They're running the show. Right? They own Europe. They own all the major banks. They created the major banks in Europe, in Switzerland, Germany, France, England, Italy. They own the Vatican. Like you just had that, you had Christmas. And people are saying, Merry Christmas. We're going to get into the scriptures on that. So Mus means death. So people yesterday were celebrating, thinking it's about the Son of God, who you call Jesus Christ, but his name is Yahushai. That's his ancient Hebrew. The prophets, the 144,000, we know the ancient Hebrew name. The whole world has been deceived. That's in the book of Revelations. That's why they put our videos way in the back. We're shadow banned. They put strikes. They terminate our channels. They delete our videos. They delete our people that comment. But that's the war the spiritual war between the prophets and we're fighting that spiritual war against Satan and social media that's run by the Rothschild family. And your media, your television is run by the Red Shield, the devil. They own the Vatican, that's a pagan church. So when you're saying Merry Christmas, you're saying death to the anointed one. Christ in the ancient Hebrew means Mashiach, which means the anointed one. So people were celebrating when they killed the Son of God. Yahushai in the ancient Hebrew means he is the deliverer of his people. And when they killed him, the Romans, they would, that's why they have the presents, the gift wrapped presents. They were so happy. The presents, the gift wrapped presents, they were so happy. And they were hand to hand with the Pharisees. Two-thirds of our people were hand to hand in killing of our Lord and Savior, Yahushai. But people, that's why when Yahushua was on the cross, he said, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Our people are evil. 2/3 of our people are evil. They don't want to know the truth. But that yesterday was a pagan holiday. All the holidays here in America are pagan. Easter's pagan. That goes back to the god of Ishtar, where women prayed to that god to have children. It was a fertility god. But ignorantly, you guys, the people of this world celebrate these pagan holidays. And Christmas is the number one pagan holiday. You're making fun, you're mocking the Son of God. So you're all merry and drinking and having orgies. It's all pagan. That goes back to Rome, to that ancient Roman Empire. They celebrated when they killed the Son, exchanging gifts. Like I said, ignorantly, you're celebrating these pagan holidays. So you're all being merry, eating like gluttons, being a bunch of drunkards on drugs, celebrating, saying Merry Christmas. And it means death to the anointed one. Like I've always said, America is a cesspool of wickedness. This is the most evil place on the face of the earth. And your senators and your Congress, they're demons. That's why China says Israel and the U.S. are the main instigators of war. So yesterday, on that pagan holiday, Israel, when they worship Satan, Beelzebub, he has many titles. Satan has many titles. They're in the cabal, the Khazars. Look it up. Do your research. Wake up. So Israel, the Israeli Air Force did an airstrike in Damascus. Kills high-ranking Iranian general, says Iran officials. They vow revenge after they killed Syed Razi Massawi, top general of the Revolutionary Guard. He was reportedly killed yesterday, December 25th. Now this morning, there was a drone attack on a military base in Iraq. Iranian proxies attack U.S. base, injures 3 Americans. U.S. strike Iran-backed groups in Iraq after attack on U.S. base. Attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria have been attacked over 120 times. Like I said, Iran, Russia, the whole Middle East, North Korea, they're not afraid of the U.S. They're not afraid of your Marines. They're not afraid of your Army. They're enraged. The Israeli Air Force and the U.S. Air Force is bombing Gaza to Kingdom Come. I believe now it's up to 25,000 people. There's like 17,000 of them are children. Babies, children, women, elderly. They're killed. Most of them are civilians. Like I said, dropping bombs on cities, on hospitals, schools, apartment buildings is a punk move. That's a real punk move. They're doing it because they're exterminating. All right? Bombs on cities, on hospitals, schools, apartment buildings is a punk move. That's a real punk move. They're doing it because they're exterminating. All right? That's Revelation chapter 12 and 12. Satan has but a short time. And he's bringing in a one world order. Like going back to that movie, a one world order. Like going back to that movie, Leave the World Behind, right in the beginning of the movie, there's 3 clocks, 666, because they're going to bring out the CHIP. Every time I bring out videos about the 666, they delete them because they don't want you to know the truth.
That force in the universe is going to cut you down. Now, we got Germany evacuating their citizens from Lebanon. We have one of the biggest attacks in Iran's history, okay? Biggest terrorist attacks, killing 103 people, hundreds of casualties. They're chanting death to America in Iran right now. It feels like just yesterday I was saying that nothing is ever going to happen. I was having passing thoughts of that, but yet tomorrow would come and I'm sure, some event would happen, and here we go. Now, you have to ask yourself, because of course, from the Iranian perspective, even if this was chalked up as ISIS related, of course, from their perspective, they believe that ISIS was a creation or in some way funded by Western intelligence agencies, including the Mossad. Now, I'm not going to speculate much on that, but what we do know is that they're blaming the Americans and the Israelis for this attack. So the question is, let's just entertain them for a second. If that is true, that is the case, would we be trying to provoke some sort of response to justify our going to war with a country? Because you see, in the current climate, we've basically used up all our karma from October 7th, okay? The Israelis, they blew their load way too quick. I mean, I don't know why there wasn't somebody there saying, hey, this is an opportunity. Okay, look, you have now a blank check to pretty much do whatever you want. Use it wisely. Don't spend it all in one place. Don't just go indiscriminately bombing a place because you can, because there will be repercussions. Okay, the people of the world eventually will push back, which is what they did in the largest protest ever before seen, probably in humankind's history, across the world. So they burned that credit card. They wrote checks, and now they're bankrupt in terms of public sympathy. So how do they get that back? How can they just repercussions? Okay, the people of the world eventually will push back. which is what they did in the largest protest ever before seen, probably in humankind's history, across the world. So they burned that credit card. They wrote checks, and now they're bankrupt in terms of public sympathy. So how do they get that back? How can they justify going to war with Hezbollah? Well, they have to be doing these things in order to provoke a massive response. Unfortunately for them, if this is the case, and again, this is all hypothetical, right? Please don't cancel me, YouTube. Not yet. We're not quite at that World War III apex yet. So I gotta stay on deck as long as possible. Now, if I was them, I would be trying to poke the bears. Okay, and what they're trying to do right now, it seems, is provoke a response from the Iranians, from not so much the Houthis, but because the Houthis don't need any provocation, but nobody seems to care. Well, actually they do, and they've given their final ultimatum, that USA-led coalition. But you have to do something major, yet Nasrallah and all of the leaders of these various groups are not taking the bait. And so they're left in this situation where, what do we do? You know, and the last-ditch Hail Mary that you can do under these circumstances, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm just saying that this is something that I would do if I was very evil and I could pull a lot of strings and maybe my name was on that list. I would say, well, can't we just create something? Can't we just create a problem? Can't we just create a crisis? Like a big crisis, like, hey, how about we, okay, we got these nuclear power plants. How about we pretend?
Oh, yeah, why is that? Construction is booming everywhere. The industry can't keep up with the demands. The way the world is now, all of civilization is just burning down. People don't want to go outside. They want to fix up their homes. They want to turn them into fortresses. Yeah, people are moving out of the city, I guess. Funny how that's happening.
It's the fourth turning.
Big pardon?
Historical events, they don't just happen. They're set into motion by great men, generational personae. And each one of these unleashes a turning that lasts about 20 years, more or less. And every 4 turnings is a seculum, which is about the length of a human life. And at the end of each, there's a crisis. In this country, the crisis is always war. Revolution, 80 years later, Civil War. 80 years later, World War II. And that's coming up on 80 years now, so. Something's about to happen.
So we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. We have multiple countries now asking their citizens to leave Lebanon. And yesterday I reported that Canada and Germany have instructed their citizens to leave Lebanon. And now today, we have some more countries. We have Britain and Denmark officially asking their citizens to leave Lebanon. And the U.S. military targeted a logistics base of some Iranian proxies in Iraq. I want to summarize the leader of Hezbollah's speech yesterday, Nasrallah. And I have some other breaking news coming in from Asia. We have North Korea making more threats against the U.S. So I want to just first start with a very sad story here. So we have Garrett Illerbrunn, sad story here. So we have Garrett Illerbrunn. He is a pilot with the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne, and he suffered a severe head injury from shrapnel in a Christmas Day drone attack by Iran-backed Kataib Hezbollah when they launched that attack on the U.S. base in Erbil in northern Iraq. He is reportedly in a coma. So I'm asking you guys to keep him and his family in your prayers. Garrett Illerbrun, Lorna Illerbrun, and Tucker Illerbrun. And they set up a GoFundMe page. I'm going to leave a link to their GoFundMe, and they're going to use the money for Bill's travel expenses because his wife has to travel to Germany to visit him while he's in the hospital. And during the drone attack, a piece of shrapnel struck Garrett in the head, lodging from about his temple to almost the back end of his ear, hitting the motor function area of his brain. Garrett is currently still in a coma, but after an attempt to take off sedation, there was some response in facial movement, a beacon of hope for his recovery. Okay, so keep him in your prayers, guys. This is a very sad story, especially right on the holidays, for this to happen on Christmas Day. Could you imagine your loved one having a piece of shrapnel lodged in their brain on Christmas Day? I mean, that is just absolutely sad. And, you know, what's even more sad is that the Biden administration is not doing anything about this, okay? Nothing, very little, okay? And that is just absolutely despicable. So I'm going to leave their GoFundMe in the comments section down below. I'm going to pin it as a comment if you want to donate something. Otherwise, if you don't want to donate anything, then just say a prayer and keep them in your prayers. I want to just mention something from yesterday in case you missed my update yesterday. So the U.S. put out a joint statement with multiple allies, basically giving a final warning to the Houthis, telling them that if they continue their attacks, that there will be consequences. If you want to read the full statement, I'll leave it in the comments section down below. I'll pin it as a comment, okay? But very serious. Let our message, I'll just read a little part of it to you. Let our message now be clear. We call for the immediate end of these illegal attacks and release of unlawfully detained vessels and crews. The Houthis will bear the responsibility of the consequences should they continue to threaten lives, the global economy, and free flow of commerce in the region's critical waterways. We remain committed to the international rules-based order and are determined to hold malign actors accountable for unlawful seizures and attacks. Okay, so